Hey folks, so today's video I wanted to bring to you a little story about something that happened to me the year before last. I think so. Not last year, because last year was COVID and that doesn't count as a year, so the year before that, 2019. I was at work and I had an incident with some, let's say, customers. They weren't customers, and I'll explain why. I want to just preface this with there will be no tolerance for any discriminatory slurs in the comments regarding the people that I'm about to talk about. You can discern what you want from the story, but we're not here to bash anyone for any part of them. The whole point of this is how ridiculous it is to harass and discriminate against someone for their existence. It's a funny story to me, so I'm allowed to think it's funny because this is what happened to me, and I'm allowed to laugh at my own pain and suffering, I guess. But this is not something you can generally laugh at, but I'm allowing you to laugh with me, for me, okay? So whatever happens is a terrible situation that no one should have to go through, but this does not mean that we are allowed to laugh and joke about people getting misgendered for looking a certain way or acting a certain way. So yeah, I'm just gonna get into the story. So let's start with the fact about who I am. I'm obviously a very pastel person. If you can just take my background, if you've never watched a video about mine before, go and watch my other videos, it'll explain everything. A transmasculine individual, I'm in transition, I've been on testosterone for 3 years, and I don't really know how people necessarily read me in public, so I'm still at that point where I'm just like, I don't know how people read me, and I guess this situation really clarified that to some degree. I'm non-binary, but I also use he, him pronouns. I use he and they pronouns, and I like being called a boy. So just to preface this, because it's relevant to the story, I am okay with being called a boy or man or using he, him pronouns. That's just me having that privilege as a non-binary person who also identifies like with mass binary terms, if you will. So I work in a shoe shop called Regular Choice. If you don't know it, it just does really quirky shoes. I've worked there for like 4 or 5 years now. It'll be 5 years in July, September. When I worked in the Camden store, we had some issues with theft and people stealing stuff, and obviously we would sometimes catch it and sometimes we would not. But one time there was a family who came in and there was like 2 adults, I think, and then like 4 kids or something, and they were very good at their job. They knew what they were doing, like they'd done this before. Like these kids are raised to be thieves, which is really, really sad and unfortunate for these children. They were like trying to steal stuff, and we caught them in the act, and they were like, oh no, it's just our children picking things up and putting them in the pram, la la la. Like using that as an excuse for why they have 3 of our bags in their trolley, in their pram, halfway down the road. My manager, I think at the time, actually managed to like notice it and went and got the security, and they got the bags. It was great, it was fine, whatever, worked out. But they would have got away with it, and they used their children as an excuse to get away with it. So that stuck in my mind, that family stuck in my mind. Like especially like because they had very thick Irish accents, and the fact that there was children involved. So those 2 key components to me are something that stuck in my head. So fast forward a couple of years, and I'm now working in the Brighton store, a lot smaller store. And that day it was just me, my manager, and one of my other colleagues working that day, because I mean I think it's only us 3 at that point anyway. We're like the only people that work there now. We're just working casually, we're all on like the shop floor doing stuff, and this family come in and they've got kids, and they're being very loud and trying to distract us from certain things, and then they start talking, and I heard they had the Irish accents, and I was like, oh my god, this is that same family. So yeah, like I leaned into my colleague and I was just like, this is that family, like that I know this family, they tried to steal from us a few years ago, like keep an eye on them. And this lady, the main lady, she clocked it straight away. She knew that I had clocked her. And then she like comes up to me, she's like, what's all this whispering about? Like, what are you talking about me? What, like, you're accusing me of something, blah, 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 blah. I can't remember everything she said. She just went the heck off on me. It just starts off this huge commotion. She's being really aggressive. And then, are you ready for this? She starts attacking me on my appearance. Surprise, surprise. Like, attacking like my gender and my identity, how I express myself. She was like, you dress like a girl, but you're a man. You're not fooling anyone, you're disgusting, you're a man, not a woman. Stuff like that, pointing at my clothes, pointing at my beard, basically like misgendering me by like calling me a man who's like trying to be a woman. And you know, all this extremely problematic stuff that is just downright offensive. She was basically trying to get me very worried, very scared, and to a point I was, like, she's like right in my face, I'm scared she's gonna beat me up, and she is causing this commotion because her children are stealing the stuff in our shop. She tries to get us all distracted on her attacking me, but trying to protect me, like my manager actually, like this very camp gay man about the same height as me, standing in front of me, trying to protect me, because he works at the pub. He deals with very aggressive people all the time. We're very lucky to have had him there because I do not know how I would have survived that situation. He's like trying to get in front and being like, you need to stop this, like you're harassing my staff. And obviously like we're all distracted by the fact that she's like being so aggressive and just saying all this really horrible transphobic stuff. And her kids are behind us stealing stuff from our shop. So it's clearly a tactic that they've used before. Like I said, they've done it before in Camden. They use the children. It's so awful that they're making their children do this. So she stops attacking me. Also like to point out at this point, like I have a badge on my chest that says he, him. Like it says my pronouns are he, him. So she's clearly not seeing it, or she's seeing it but not understanding it, and it's irrelevant to her. And just, yeah, I'm just there like, I know you're attacking me. You're attacking me for my identity, but you're validating my existence because you are calling me a man who's not a woman. And I'm like, damn, you're right, that's exactly why. Like, it's just so funny. Like, this is not the first time this has happened. It happens occasionally online. And it's awful because it's obviously steeped in transphobia. Like, people are trying to invalidate my gender identity, but they're being transphobic by calling me by the correct pronouns and using the right words. Also, like, just to like put this out there, like for me, when I get like attacked for like my gender identity or whatever, however I look, it literally doesn't bother me. Like, I'm very lucky that like I literally can get like harassed, transphobic abuse thrown at me, and it does not bother me. So even if she had been like misgendering me like in the, I don't know, the right way, like if she, you know, had said that I was a woman, not a man, whatever, like it wouldn't have bothered me that much. Like, I'm so used to it, unfortunately so used to it, that just kind of, those kind of comments just go straight over my head. Like, I don't have to validate myself to anyone. Like, I don't exist for anyone else. I exist for myself, and I validate my existence and my gender identity, and I love being me. Like, it's great. Like, I don't care what anyone else has to say. Like, it just doesn't bother me. So yeah, like, it doesn't make me cry, it doesn't make me upset. Like, obviously for other people it can do, like it's a very damaging thing that no one should be subjected to, but on a personal level, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm okay with it, 100% okay. So just like to clarify, if anybody was wondering about at all, like, I'm good, don't worry. Like, I am just so like numb to that kind of abuse. Doesn't mean I want to receive it though, obviously. So like, I'm probably gonna get some comments like blah blah blah, really transphobic stuff, and I'm like your comments literally mean nothing to me. So go ahead, give me the views, give me the exposure, I'll take it, you know, like, thanks for the views. So yeah, it was just, I was standing there scared for my life, being threatened and being called a man. So I was like, okay, you know what, like, I will take that. I don't necessarily, I don't get gendered correctly that much in public, especially at work. I don't put myself out there, like, to that point, to strangers to correct them, because I'll never see them again and I don't really care for their opinion either way. I'm just gonna dress however I want, because either way I'm gonna get misgendered, because some people will take certain facial features to mean you're binary gender, whatever. She was just validating my entire existence. I'm like, wow, I pass? But like in the other way, like in the sense that like I pass because I'm being attacked for being told that I'm not a woman, rather than being validated as a masculine person, like who tries to present themselves masculine. Like for me, like obviously colours have no gender, it's all a social construct, and me wearing pastel colours doesn't make me feminine, doesn't make me a woman. They're just the colours that I particularly enjoy. Here I am, like on that day in particular, I was wearing like head to toe like pink and blue. Those were the colours I was wearing. She's attacking me like this, like it's awful behaviour. Like obviously if I was like a trans woman or a trans feminine person, that would be a completely different scenario. Like it's absolutely not funny. The only reason it's funny is because she was validating my own gender identity. I'm very lucky that that's what she picked up on, because if she had been doing it the other way around, I think I would have been a bit more like like if she was like calling me, like saying that I'm not a man, I'm a girl and stuff like that, you know, like immediately I'm just like, oh, I hate that a lot. But no, she was getting the other way around, so I'm allowed to laugh at it because I think it's funny. Like, I don't get gendered correctly a lot, but when I do, I'm being attacked and being gendered correct at the same time. So it's funny. I hope in future, like when I don't have to wear a mask at work, because like I feel like my facial hair helps a little bit, you know, kind of people see facial hair, they're like, oh, you're a man. Like obviously that's so problematic. Like having a beard does not indicate that you're a man or you're masculine or whatever. It just indicates that you managed to grow facial hair. Amazing. But for me, obviously it does help, like it helps a lot. And wearing a mask this last year or so, I haven't been able necessarily to be like, hey look, I have a beard, to be gendered correctly. On that day, I wasn't wearing a mask because the pandemic wasn't a thing back then. I got gendered correctly by being attacked. Yeah, so since that point, it's rare for me to get gendered correctly because of what I wear and how people associate things I wear, and also like I'm short and I'm kind of podgy, so I don't necessarily give off masculine vibes. As much as I say I'm trans-masculine, it doesn't necessarily reflect on how the public sees me. But yeah, it just goes to show that even the most transphobic of people will gender you correctly, because at the end of the day, how you express yourself can come across in a way that truly shows who you are. In that sense, I'm a trans-masculine person, and I guess I can present myself naturally as a way that people will gender me correctly. Not all the time, sometimes it does happen. Even though my voice isn't that deep and I still don't necessarily pass and I wear all the pastel colours, like I can still get gendered correctly. Obviously I'm non-binary, so it's not 100% correct either way, but again I'm fine with being seen as a boy, so that's fine with me. But just because I'm okay with this doesn't mean that any other non-binary person will also be okay with this. But the point is that you're not getting gendered correctly. As a non-binary person, it's harder to get gendered correctly outside of your friend circle, for example, because people will try and figure you out one way or another way and not necessarily like, oh, you're non-binary. I'm glad that I got misgendered in the you know, the right way, as in like she thought I was a man trying to be a woman. God, there's so much wrong with that sentence. I hate it so much. But no, like she was gendering me correctly. But yeah, like at the end of the day, I survived the situation. I was very lucky to have my manager there to help me out, my colleague as well. I don't know what I would have done if neither of them had been there at that time. Oh my god. But yeah, like I hope I never have to see this family again, because that's the second time I've had to deal with them, and I hate them, and I hate working in retail where people will come in and do that kind of stuff. It's awful. It was just a nice experience, I guess. Like for me, genuinely, it was a nice experience because I got validated. Don't do that to people. Obviously, don't go and try and steal stuff and then misgender people to try and steal stuff. Like, and don't make your kids steal stuff. Just don't do this, okay? Like, the whole situation is an absolute mess. So this is just me making it into like a somewhat positive thing. But I hope I never have to go through that again. Ever. Like, I'm done with that. I'm good, thanks. And that's my story time about how I was transphobically gendered correctly. and I hope you like this. If you have any similar stories, like, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to know. Also, like, I don't want people to be like, how could she think that you're transitioning that way when you're clearly transitioning that way? Like, you can't look, there's just not one way for somebody to possibly look like they're transitioning a certain way. Obviously, because of, you know, society, we will get gendered a certain way, but she could have been right, you know, she could have been right. I could have been a trans feminine person, you know, who was transitioning or wasn't transitioning. I could have been, you know what I mean? Like, I was very lucky that it was me in that situation and her not quite picking up on the right things, I guess. You know, the right thing. Yeah, you just can't assume someone's gender identity, and just attacking people obviously for their gender identity is stupid, but the point is you can never truly get it right. Just ask someone what their pronouns are before you verbally abuse them. Ask them how they identify, because at the end you don't have to be a transphobic person to be an asshole. Like, you can gender people correctly and still be a really horrible person, but you know, at least you're trying, right? That's my story, and I hope you enjoyed this really nice long chat about my life experiences. I guess I'm gonna stop here because I don't really have anything else about that, but yeah, again, you're welcome to drop some comments if you have any specific questions on anything regarding this whole situation. I'll try and answer it. Like, obviously, yeah, let me know if you also had any like stories like this, and we can all just laugh at the ridiculousness of the social construct of gender identity. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later. Bye.